again, Year 5 and Year 6. Welcome to the second video in our 2-week RE learning journey. What is Hinduism? Now, if you haven't watched video number 1, please pause this now and go back to video number 1 because that's really essential knowledge around what Hindus believe in. Okay, and you won't be ready to access this video until you've done video number 1. Okay, so just a quick reminder then to keep all of your RE work from the next 2 weeks in the same place. So that could be in an exercise book, it could be on pieces of paper, but please keep them all together, neat and tidy. Okay, so that you are creating a learning journey showcasing all your fabulous work. Okay, for the next part of the video, so video number 2, you're going to need a pencil, a ruler, your red pen or a different colour pen to underline with, and later on you may need some colours if you want to, but they're not essential. Okay, a quick reminder then before we go any further that there are some other sources of information that you can be using. If we were at school, I wouldn't just be talking to you about Hinduism. I'd be asking you to watch videos, to interview a Hindu, to do all sorts of discussion and activities. Obviously that's really tricky when I'm having to create videos for you to watch at home. So I don't want you to miss out on those experiences. So I found a couple of videos here at the top where there is a boy and a girl of similar ages to you talking about their life as a Hindu. And there are also some other videos and articles that will be really useful to you. So if you have time, I really strongly recommend that you have a look at those. If you've only got time for 1 or 2, the top 2 are only sort of 2 or 3 minutes long each. Okay, so they're really, really useful. Right, let's recap where we're up to then. So in your book, you've already written the title, What is Hinduism, and the date, and you've underlined it with your red pen and your ruler. And then underneath there, you made a table sharing what you already know and questions that you may have about Hinduism. And then underneath your table, you wrote today's learning objective. I can explain the main beliefs in Hinduism, and you've underlined that again with your red pen or a different colour pen that you have at home. And then hopefully you've stuck in or you've tucked into your book your matching cards, your poster or your leaflet, or you've written your explanation underneath that learning objective. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next activity now then, and you'll remember that our success criteria, the 2 things that we need to do in order to achieve this learning objective, is to name the Hindu deities and their qualities and explain the main beliefs that Hindus share. So hopefully you're feeling now that you can explain the beliefs of a Hindu, the 4 main beliefs, and that you've got a little bit more of an understanding about the life of a Hindu. So our focus then next is going to be this top success criteria. We're going to be learning about the Hindu deities and their qualities. Now, before I go any further, it's really important that I mention pronunciation. And that's the way we say words. I'm going to do my very best to pronounce the words and the names in this video accurately and as best as I can. I think it's really important that I show respect in doing the best job that I can in pronouncing them. But obviously that is tricky for me. So if you're unsure, you can always go onto Google, you can type the word in and it will tell you how to pronounce it, and you can have a little practice at home, Year 5 and 6. Okay, now you'll remember that I said Hinduism is a really unique religion because it has no founder, no one person that started it. Instead, it's a mixture of beliefs and traditions and cultures of the people who lived alongside a river, the river Indus, and that sort of run through Asia and South Asia. Now, Hinduism is also a unique religion for another reason. Religions around the world fall into 2 categories. So most religions are what we would call a monotheism religion. That means that they believe in one god or goddess. So for example, if we take Christianity, Christians believe in one god. Islam, Muslims believe in one god, Allah. Judaism, a Jew believes in one god. And Sikhism, a Sikh believes in one god. Now, Hindus believe in many gods and goddesses, and therefore their religion is known as polytheism. That's a tricky word, isn't it? Polytheism, because they believe in many gods and goddesses. Okay, now if a religion has lots of gods and goddesses, then they're known as a deity or deities. So where our success criteria says that we need to name the main Hindu deities, that means the gods or goddesses. Okay, and then the only religion that falls outside of these two categories is Buddhism, because Buddhists don't have a belief in any god or goddesses. Okay, so you've got a quick 5-minute task then, just to get your brains warmed up again. In your book or on a piece of paper, you're going to record the meaning of monotheism and polytheism. Now, you could use a table like they've done here, or you could write the definitions in your own words, or if you've got a creative idea of how you want to present your knowledge, then you can be creative in your book if you want. But this is just a quick 5-minute task. Okay, so pause the video now then, year 5 and 6, and record the meaning of monotheism and polytheism in your book. Okay, welcome back then. So we're going to move on now to learn about the Hindu deities. Now, Hindus believe in one god called Brahman. Okay, it doesn't look like it's pronounced like that, but it is Brahman. And Brahman's qualities are represented by many gods and goddesses. So there's one main god, and then many gods and goddesses or deities who present the main qualities of Brahman. The best way of thinking about this, year 5 and 6, is if you think about yourself, you are a son or daughter to your mum and dad, okay, but you may also be a cousin or a niece or a nephew. You might be a sister or a brother. You'll be a friend. You'll be a classmate. So you have lots of qualities within yourself, and these can be represented in lots of different ways. So in a similar way, Brahman, okay, his qualities are represented by different gods and goddesses. Now, the main 3 gods, okay, are Vishnu, Brahman and Shiva. And their wives are the goddesses. And again, I'm going to do my best to pronounce these correctly. Saraswati, Lakshmi and Shakti. Okay, oh sorry, I'm going to just say that one again. Lakshmi. Okay, so Saraswati, Lakshmi and Shakti. Okay, so we've got the 3 main gods, and they have a title which you can see here, which is pronounced as Trimini. Okay, so that's the title of the 3 main gods, and Trivedi are the 3 main goddesses. Now there are many more than these 6, but these are the 6 main ones. And Hindus have images, sacred images of their gods and goddesses, and these are called murti. Oh, I'm going to pause the video now and just double check that one, year 5 and 6, because I've forgotten that one. Got lots of pronunciation to remember in my head. Okay, thank you for being patient, year 5 and 6. So it's murdi. Okay, it sounds like a D in the middle, murdi. So these images of the gods and goddesses are called murdi. Okay, so Hindus worship at home each day, and they have a shrine in their homes. Now this could be a room or a small altar. It could even be some pictures or a statue of a god or a goddess. And families normally worship together at home at least once a day and will give offerings or gifts to the god that they are worshipping. Some families will worship one god. Other families will pick and choose which god to worship that is most appropriate to their dharma, so their duty at that time. Okay. Now, the main religious temple in Hinduism is called a mandir. Okay, and temples are a special place where Hindus go to worship, and they're dedicated to the gods. They are often huge elaborate buildings that look more like a palace, but they are seen as a home to the god. Okay, and inside you will see sacred images of the gods, and a Hindu may take an offering to the god that they are praying to, such as water, fruit, flowers or incense. Okay, now what we're going to do, Year 5 and 6, is have a look at these 6 main gods in a little bit more detail. And I do apologise because, again, it's going to be a little bit more talking from me. So what I'm actually going to do is share a little bit of information from each slide that you can see, as well as a little bit of sort of my own knowledge. So if you want to sort of turn the sound off and just read the slide for yourself, that is of course okay, I don't mind that. If you prefer to listen to me read them and add in some extra information, that is fine as well. Okay, so remember the main god is Brahma, okay, and Brahma is the god of creation. Okay, if we go back to the 3 gods, Brahma is considered the god to be the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer. Okay, so Brahma is the god of creation. He has 4 arms and 4 faces, looking in 4 different directions. And each of these 4 heads is believed to be responsible for the 4 sacred Hindu texts, which we're going to learn more about later this week. Now, Brahma is not worshipped as much as the other gods, because as creator, his rule is now over. Okay, he's created everything that is in existence, and therefore actually his role is over, it's finished. So he's not prayed to as much as the other gods. His wife, Saraswati, is the goddess of knowledge. So here we are. She is the goddess of knowledge and arts. And if you look here, she's sitting on a swan. What do you think that swan might symbolise to a Hindu looking at this picture? Okay, so the swan is white, and we know that white is a symbol of being pure. Okay, so a Hindu would believe that Saraswati has a pure knowledge. And sometimes she's shown to be with a peacock, which is said to represent the arts. Now, she taught Brahma, which is her husband, how to sense, how to think, how to understand or comprehend, and how to communicate. So she was a huge part of the creation and a huge part of Brahma and how he created the earth and all that is in existence. Now, Saraswati, she's not interested in things that are material things. She is much more in favour of pure wisdom. Now, a material thing could be something such as your PlayStation, because it's not essential to your existence. It's a material extra that you could live without. Okay, so this brings us to the second of the gods, or the second of the 3 most important, Vishnu. And you'll remember that I said Vishnu is the preserver. Okay, and his role is to get rid of all evil on earth. So he preserves and protects the universe. Now, if Earth was to come into troubled times, then his role would be to return to Earth and to restore the balance between good and evil. And in our current climate, where we are experiencing troubled times, it's said that a lot of Hindus are currently praying to Vishnu and asking him to protect our earth and to restore the balance between good and evil. Evil being the coronavirus that is currently challenging us. Now, lots of not all Hindus, but many Hindus believe that Vishnu comes back to earth as an incarnation. So you'll remember that Hindus believe in reincarnation. So that's your soul. The soul can live in many different forms. And Hindus believe that the human forms of Vishnu are Rama and Krishna. And we're going to learn a little bit more about those humans this week. Okay, his wife is Lakshmi. Okay, we're going to learn a little bit more about Lakshmi now. Now, Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth and purity. And you'll notice that she also has 4 arms. Can you remember the name of the other god that has 4 arms? That's right, Braham. Okay, and you'll notice that she's standing on a lotus flower. Now, Hindus believe that if they worship this god, Lakshmi, and they worship her with honesty and truth, not for greed, so not for wanting more, then she will bless them with fortune and success. And like her husband, Lakshmi has also had human incarnations on earth in Sita, Radha and Rukmini. And we'll learn more about those in the coming weeks. Okay, the last of the 3 main gods then is Shiva. And you'll remember Shiva is the destroyer or destruction. And his role is to destroy the universe in order to recreate it. So he's seen as being both good and evil. And it's his wife, Shakti, who we're going to learn a little bit more about in a moment. It's Shakti who balances him out. Now, sometimes he's seen as having a third eye, which represents wisdom and insight. You can see here that he has a cobra around his neck. Sometimes it's as a necklace as well. And that represents destruction and recreation. And snakes, because they shed their skin and grow new skin, Hindus believe that the shredding of the skin represents destruction and the building of the new skin represents creation. Okay, at times he also has 3 lines drawn across the front of his face to represent his power, and sometimes he's shown as having a trident. Okay, so here we see his trident with the 3 prongs at the top, which are the 3 prongs of the 3 main gods, and you'll remember they are called Trimini. Okay, so we have Braham in the middle, Vishnu and Shiva represented in the trident. Okay, his wife then, Shakti. So Shakti is the mother goddess, and she is the source of all energy, all power and all creativity in the universe. And for a Hindu, she represents nature. Now she can be nurturing as well as dangerous, because if we think about nature, there are dangerous elements to nature. Energy and power in the weather can be dangerous. Sometimes she appears as, and again I'm going to do my best with these pronunciations, Parvati, which is kind, Kali, which is cruel and frightening, and Durga, a protector. And you'll notice that she also has 4 arms and is sitting on a lotus. And the lotus is very symbolic. You'll notice that Lakshmi was also stood on the lotus flower. There was a lotus flower is often shown with Saraswati as well. Okay, well, I realised that was a lot of information, year 5 and 6, so I do apologise. Like I say, if we were at school, I wouldn't make you sit and listen to me. We'd be doing research, watching videos. Okay, but it just so happens that that's the only way I can do it for you, give that information to you at the moment. So, a recap then. We have the 3 main gods: Vishnu, the preserver; Brahma, the creator; and Shiva, the destroyer, and their wives, Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Shakti. Now, your activity, year 5 and 6, again, you've got a few to choose from. So, number 1 is probably the most straightforward. If you feel that you haven't got much time today, then you're going to write an explanation using your own words for each of the 6 main deities. So what that means is, in your exercise book, you'd maybe start by writing, you could start with Brahma, writing Brahma as a subheading. You might want to draw a small picture of him, or print off a picture at home and stick it in your book, and then write a few sentences about what you know about him, and then continue for each of the 6. You might decide that you want to design another card game, and you could design some match attack cards. Now, what that would look like, year 6, is you'd have a sort of card shape with a picture of your chosen deity, god or goddess, and then you'd have some key information underneath them, and you'd be able to play a game of match attack with somebody at home. And if you're not sure, if you need a little bit more information on that one, I suggest you just do a little bit of Googling, have a look at some images, and there'll be lots of support for you. And then your final option is to create a Hindu deities poster or leaflet, or you could add to the one that you made this morning about the main beliefs of Hindus. Okay, your poster or your leaflet will explain the qualities of each of the 6 main deities. Okay, so what I'm going to do, year 5 and 6, is I'm going to pause on this slide here, because I think this is a good place for you all to start this afternoon or this morning, whenever you're accessing this video. If you need any help or support, please send me a message on Class Dojo. Okay, and I really look forward to seeing your finished piece of work when you share it with us on Class Dojo. Have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you very soon.